The anime begins with a man named Tomokui Kanata being stabbed repeatedly by a girl sitting on top of him. Unable to defend himself, he watches as she surrounds her blade with lightning and delivers the final blow. Suddenly, he wakes up in a cave. An old goblin named Gobji gives him a new name, Ru, and feeds him a worm. Ru realizes he has been reborn as a goblin and cries because he doesn't like his new form. 3 days later, Ru's body matures quickly, much faster than a human's. Gobji gives the young goblins food for the last time, telling them they must learn to hunt. Ru leaves the cave and explores the strange outside world. He meets another goblin named Kichi, and they decide to hunt together. They spot a horned rabbit, and while Kichi chases it, Ru sets an ambush and kills it with one hit. When Kichi tries to eat the rabbit by himself, Ru beats him up and insists they share. Ru takes the rabbit's horn, thinking it might be useful as a weapon, but then he sees a notification and gets confused. They continue hunting together, using the same tactics. Each time Ru takes a horn, he receives another message, but still doesn't understand it. After eating another rabbit, Ru learns the escape ability and realizes he has his old absorption power, which lets him learn the abilities of creatures he consumes. Though he has lost other powers from his past life, he thinks absorption is enough to make him stronger by consuming monsters in the area. Back in the cave, they meet a girl named Mi, who is impressed by their ability to hunt horned rabbits. Ru invites her to join them for a hunt the next day, but it rains, so they postpone it. While exploring their storage area, Ru notices they use human girls to procreate, but ignores them and forges a weapon instead. Gobji approaches and tells Ru he's leveling up faster than expected. When Ru taps his head as instructed, he learns Gobji is level 86. Gobji explains that goblins evolve into hobgoblins at level 100, but few reach it because they age quickly and die before leveling up. The next day, Ru's party hunts again, defeating monsters with excellent teamwork. They eat a snake, and Ru learns its abilities, thinking they'll be useful. Kichi enjoys the snake, but is warned not to eat the head because it's poisonous. After days of hunting, they reach a cave, but are attacked by bats. Kichi defends with his shield, while Ru uses his stun skill to kill the bats, gaining new abilities. One night, a group of hungry goblins surrounds Ru while he sleeps, but his search ability activates, letting him sense danger. He fights them off, but accidentally stabs one, who collapses from Ru's poison-laced weapon. Ru explains it was an accident and that he can't control his abilities yet. Mi, realizing the goblins tried to kill Ru, strangles one of them. While hunting, Ru's party encounters an orc. Mi breaks its finger with a stone and Kichi trips it. Ru finishes the orc and gains new abilities by eating it. He suggests sharing the food with other goblins, and everyone thanks him. Ru wonders why he's being kind, given his selfish past. That night, Ru is disturbed by a system message asking if he wants to evolve. Without reading it, he selects yes and goes back to sleep. The next day, he notices his body has changed and looks more like his past self. Kichi has also transformed, and Mai thinks they look amazing. Gobji is surprised they've ranked up so quickly. Kichi challenges Ru to a fight, and they spar in the woods. Kichi lands a hit, but is eventually defeated by Ru's speed. Suddenly, they hear wolves. Ru tells Mi to prepare the crossbow. The wolf pack is eating monsters in the field. Mi shoots the leader with a poison bolt, and Ru and Kichi slaughter the wolves with ease. The injured leader collapses, and Ru eats him to gain new abilities, including a leadership skill. Ru returns to the goblins, tells them to eat the wolves, and instructs them to hunt the same amount of prey in the future. They beg him to teach them how to hunt, and he agrees, saying they are all comrades. Moved by his words, they decide to follow him. A few days later, the goblins discover that the humans have taken their own lives. Ru, believing they lost hope, holds a memorial for them. He trains the goblins and reveals that he has been eating monsters, acquiring numerous abilities. When he sees a group approaching, he prepares to fight, thinking they're a threat. However, Gobji stops him, explaining that the group is from the previous generation. Gobji welcomes them, and they bring humans with them, intending to create the next generation. Ru opposes this and confronts the leader, Ken, saying he wants to care for the humans. Ken, looking down on Ru, gets upset and a fight almost breaks out, but the girls, Sato and Sei, intervene, suggesting a fight between Ken and Ru to determine the village leader. Ru and Ken agree to fight without weapons, but Ru wins instantly by using his body-produced strings, which he argues aren't weapons. He declares himself the new leader, but Ken's men are unhappy. Ru takes the humans to a storage area for safety and promises to return them to a human village. Rebellia, one of the humans, asks what he wants in return, and Rue says he wants their knowledge. The humans reveal they were part of a traveling business before Ken's group attacked, killing their protectors. They start crying, and Rue gives them space to grieve. 2 days later, Rue brings the humans food and observes that they have already moved on. He notes that unlike goblins, humans don't evolve but have unique jobs. He learns that Rebellia is a rookie warrior and considers letting her train with the goblins. Meanwhile, Ken's men struggle with their training, and Rue scolds and beats them to remind them he's the boss. One evening, Rue senses danger and catches Ken and his men trying to harm the humans. Rue stops them and orders them to be dragged outside. He gathers everyone and tortures Ken as punishment for breaking the rules. The next day, Ken's men remain tied up, but Ken has died from his injuries. Rue and his friends then fight a Trihorn monster, struggling to break its scales. Rue restrains it and delivers the final blow, gaining new skills from eating it. He tests one of these skills, realizing he can land 3 blows with a single strike. Rue is about to sleep when Rebellia joins him, still troubled by the recent events. He allows her to sleep beside him, and in the morning he finds that Mai has also joined them, causing his arms to ache. The goblins continue training, and Rue's assistant E evolves into a hobgoblin, teaching goblins chores. Mi leads the ranged unit, Kichi oversees the armored fighters, and Sato manages the light-armored unit, while Sei, the only mage, has no unit. Rue leaves the training to them and heads into the woods, encountering another Trihorn. He kills it with a new spell, becoming more confident in his abilities. Following a blood trail, Rue remembers Gobji's warning about a dangerous creature, the red bear. Despite this, he follows the trail and finds a dead Trihorn, killed by something incredibly strong. The ground shakes as the red bear appears, threatening Rue. He initially considers fleeing, but decides to fight to gain the bear's skills. Using magic, Rue aims for the bear's head, but it blocks the spell. Realizing the bear's instincts are sharp, he retreats and covers it with strings, but it breaks free and breathes fire. Rue hides behind a tree, healing his wounds with a spell. Determined to defeat the bear, he charges in, blocking its fire with a shield and stabbing its mouth. The bear retaliates, injuring him severely. Knowing the bear can't breathe fire again with his sword in its mouth, Rue makes a final desperate attack, losing an arm but ultimately defeating the bear. Rue eats the bear's hand, gaining its strength, but collapses from his injuries. He receives a message from the system asking if he wants to evolve into an ogre. He agrees and regains consciousness, eating the bear's head to learn more of its skills. Noticing his knife has shrunk, he realizes it's because he has turned into an ogre. Returning to the village, the goblins don't recognize him and see him as a threat. Mai realizes who he is, kicks him in anger for worrying her, and hurts herself. Rue explains what happened to his arm, and the goblins are amazed, thinking the red bear was the apex predator. They ask him many questions, but Rue is just glad to be alive. The other girls are surprised when they see Rue, but soon recognize him. Emery notices Rue's worn-out weapon and offers him a new knife made from spirit stone, which makes Rue happy, but also makes Mai and Rebellia jealous. Rue admires the twins' adaptability, thinking they would make good wives, but Rebellia hits him for this comment. He checks on Spinel, an alchemist, who made poison for self-defense before trusting Rue. Rue reassures her, but then feels a sudden intense killing intent. Rue can't train the others because his light punches critically injure the other goblins, and Kai's armor is almost destroyed. Kichi, feeling demoralized, goes out to train alone. Meanwhile, Sato and Mi get along well, and E spends her time mining for spirit stones. Rue hangs out with Sei, happy that eating a slime allows him to use his arm somewhat. The next day, E rushes to Rue with an injured spirit, which he quickly heals. The spirit returner introduces herself and explains she was attacked by humans for the gem on her head, worth 1 billion gold. Returner asks for their help to get rid of the humans, explaining her master, a legendary magician, hates humans and would rather give them the treasures than let humans have them. Rue decides to check it out despite Rebellia's concern, promising not to kill the humans and trying to persuade them instead. Rue and E discover that her mining hall leads directly to the treasure room. Rue confronts the adventurers, warning them to leave, but they attack him. Finding their attacks simple, Rue gets hit by a lightning spell but is unaffected, which enrages him. He eats all the adventurers, learning their jobs and finding a magic item bag and a concealment ring. Eating them gives him the dimensional item box ability. Returner takes them to her master Velvet and fades away, leaving her gem, which Rue eats, gaining the golden rule ability. With his new ability, Rue collects all the treasures but feels bad about leaving the body, so he cremates it, discovering a glove that attaches to him, giving him more abilities. The others are amazed, and Rue shares the treasures with the hobgoblins, keeping 2 legendary items for himself. They continue leveling up, and Rue explores the forest, gaining abilities by eating a golden spider and a crystal deer. Rue finds a giant tree and encounters a dryad, known to tempt men. Despite struggling, he gives in and gains the dryad's blessing. Returning to camp, Rue finds the girls ignoring him. Spinel explains they're jealous because of kiss marks on his neck from the dryad. Spinel kisses Rue, admitting she likes him, which angers Mii, who also clings to him, wanting to kiss him. Soon after, the other girls express the same desire. The next day, Rue noticed his heightened search ability and sensed a group approaching. He went out to meet them and discovered elves visiting. Their leader looked down on goblins, calling them savages, and offered a reward if they helped defeat humans threatening the woods. Despite Gobji thinking it generous, Rue refused, sensing insincerity. Tensions rose, but Rue's overpowering aura stunned the elves into submission. Threatening their archers, Rue convinced the leader to stand down, vowing to protect the woods as his home. Later, Rue showcased his power by summoning spears, keeping the elves at bay. He encountered a gray slime, consuming its core to gain a new skill, auto-replication. Testing it, he used his blood to summon a creature, also gaining a means to observe remotely. When the elves returned, Rue roared, stunning them again and capturing them in his webs. Learning their leader sought revenge, Rue spared their lives under conditions. After defeating and absorbing skills from some elves, Rue evolved and encountered Kichi, who evolved due to demigod blessings. Kichi challenged Rue, who acknowledged him as a rival after a tough fight. Later, a mysterious figure offered Rue a gift in a dream, but he woke uncertain. Kichi's inspiration led other goblins to evolve, with one showing mage potential, named Ji. Another, Sei, evolved into a half-spell lord, but questioned her new markings. Testing her magic with destructive fireballs, Rue noted her potential to evolve further. As the villagers trained, Rue saw their progress and the departure of older goblins dissatisfied with his leadership. Noticing an interesting ability in a human's body, Rue obtained it after a confrontation with an orc. Celebrating with a feast, Rue introduced beer to the village. Using his blood to create communication earrings, Rue connected with the villagers. With his monster-taming ability, Rue subdued creatures to aid the village. Rebellia's growth as a noir soldier impressed Rue, hunting monsters effectively. Aware of humans in the woods, Rue prepared for war. When the kobolds fled from the skeletons, Rue and his group fought them, discovering their weakness to blunt attacks. Overcoming the skeletons, Rue gained their leader's abilities and earned their loyalty. Reflecting on the village's diversity and dynamics, Rue saw its potential amidst challenges and new discoveries. Rue and Kichi go hunting together and notice a suspicious group of humans. Rue decides to follow them and uses his ability to eavesdrop. He learns they plan to kidnap the daughter of the elf chief, with inside help from a traitorous elf. Waiting until nightfall, the humans attack when the chief's daughter passes by. Rue intervenes, defeating the attackers and learning they plan a larger assault on the elves in 20 days. The chief's daughter wakes up frightened, but Rue reassures her, explaining his motives. She initially mistrusts him, but eventually calms down. The next day, Rue prepares to escort her home. They discuss her unique abilities as a high elf with wings. They arrive at the elf village where Rue detects archers aiming at him, but the chief's daughter vouches for him. Meeting the chief, Rue reveals he saved his daughter for strategic reasons, not kindness. Impressed, the chief offers Rue valuable items as a reward, and they strike a deal to share information about the impending human attack. Later, Rue finds Mii has evolved into a powerful variant thanks to a blessing. Yi and Sato also evolve, gaining new abilities. With war approaching, Rue trains his group, including the kobolds who initially resist modern communication devices due to tradition. Rue improves his skills, summoning undead for training, learning their weaknesses. The group grows to over 100 members, training intensively. Emery enhances Rue's halberd, becoming an elemental smith. Kichi confesses his feelings to Yi with Rue's encouragement, which she reciprocates, strengthening their bond. The group trains further and gains new abilities. Rue experiments with an exoskeleton skill, inadvertently losing his clothes but gaining armor and insect wings. They receive a visit from elves warning of the human attack beginning. Rue agrees to help under the condition of operational freedom, forming a mercenary group named Parabellum, meaning prepare for war. Excitement builds as they prepare to face the impending conflict. In the early morning, Rue led his group to a human camp surrounded by a magical barrier. Realizing they couldn't pass through, Sei suggested destroying it. Rue ordered everyone into position. Using his gauntlet, he fired a powerful blast that shattered the barrier. The humans panicked as E created an earth wall, and Sei set the camp on fire with her magic. Meanwhile, Rue summoned countless skeletons to attack, but the humans fought back. A knight named Therese, their commander, led the resistance against Rue's skeletons. She recognized Rue's summoning and ordered her soldiers to take him down. One of her mages created an opening for her to charge in with incredible speed. Impressed by her skill, Rue casually knocked her away, acknowledging her talent but offering her a chance to join him, which she refused defiantly. Rue then ordered his friends to capture the talented humans, intending to eliminate the rest. Mi used her evil eye to manipulate the soldiers, causing them to turn on each other. Therese fought fiercely, but even her best efforts couldn't pierce Rue's defenses. Another mage summoned a dragon, prompting Sato to prepare for a sacrificial attack. However, Rue intervened to protect her with a magical shield, combining elements to defend against the dragon's assault. After the battle, Rue celebrated with the village chief, who thanked him for dealing with the humans. Investigating the captured humans, Rue administered medicine received from the elves to heal them. However, Therese remained suspicious of Rue's intentions, thinking he might use her for breeding. Rue equipped them with ear cuffs to prevent lying and extracted information from them. Rue shared intelligence with the chief via a communication device, revealing the humans' plan to attack from multiple directions. He prepared an ambush and observed hundreds of soldiers marching through the woods. Rue's forces blocked their path and initiated an attack, causing chaos among the soldiers. Using boulders, traps, and goblin forces, they decimated the enemy ranks. Despite the human leader's impressive defense, Kichi managed to capture him, leading to the defeat of their army. As prisoners discussed their fate, the captured leader, Steel Crowback, attempted to calm them, revealing his name and their common predicament. Rue interrogated Crowback about the human invasion motive, learning they sought a secret medicine from the elves to heal their princess. Rue suspected their intentions were driven by greed, as the princess was engaged to an emperor. In another scene, E discovered a hot spring, prompting Rue to build baths for everyone to relax. The following day, Rue decided to train the prisoners to improve their combat skills through mock battles. Sei and Mi oversaw their training, impressed by their potential. Crowback challenged Rue to a fight, but was quickly overwhelmed. Kichi also sparred with Rue, showcasing a remarkable fighting spirit. Later, Crowback revealed his upbringing among demi-humans and pledged loyalty to Rue. Rue acknowledged his potential and tasked him with training Rebellia to become stronger. Meeting with the village chief again, Rue learned 3 prisoners were injured and gained insight into the secret medicine's potency, using it to heal them instantly. The following evening, a human commander was quietly enjoying a cup of tea when Rue's spear suddenly struck him, blasting a hole through his body. The spear activated, impaling nearby soldiers as Rue's friends swiftly appeared, eliminating the remaining humans. The next day, Rue visited the chief, who expressed a desire to end the war. Consequently, the chief decided to dispatch his elite unit to support Rue, anticipating the final battle. As they returned to the village, Therese expressed her desire to serve Rue, but requested him to deliver the secret medicine to the humans, hoping to save the princess. Rue contemplated this, aware of the potential political leverage with the kingdom, yet mindful of the religious implications involving the 5 great gods granting extraordinary powers. Rue, having the blessings of the god of demons, foresaw a religious conflict if he handed over the medicine. Despite Therese's request, he deferred his decision, focusing on the imminent encounter as his group approached the enemy's base. Aware of their numerical disadvantage, Rue strategized against a direct confrontation with the humans. His reconnaissance revealed discussions among the humans about the Rugal Orden, a group of heroic warriors blessed by gods known for strengthening allies. Rue anticipated facing them eagerly, summoning his skeletons despite Mi's reminder of the approaching dawn. He revealed his plan to secure the perimeter and launch a solo attack on the base. The skeletons initiated the assault, overwhelming the humans who struggled against them until sunrise, which normally would have neutralized the undead. However, Rue's foresight had coated them in protective slime. Joining the fray, Rue commanded his skeletons to aid his friends, utilizing the surrounding water and blood to unleash a devastating wave that decimated the soldiers. During the chaos, a boy named Philip, a member of the Rugal Orden, approached Rue. Philip, gifted by the god of demonic insects, demonstrated his ability to manipulate insects, transforming soldiers into formidable attackers. Recognizing Philip's threat, Rue engaged in a battle of wits and strength, maneuvering through the insect onslaught with his regenerative abilities. Philip then summoned a massive centipede, his formidable pet capable of paralyzing venom, which briefly incapacitated Rue. Recovering quickly, Rue countered Philip's tactics, revealing his own insect-based armor and matching Philip blow for blow. Despite their evenly matched fight, Rue landed a decisive strike, sending Philip crashing down. Meanwhile, Rue's friends secured victory over the enemy soldiers, though Mai sensed lingering danger and flew off. Philip, conceding defeat, abandoned his armor and fled, pursued by Rue, who eventually disabled his armor but allowed Philip to escape. Relieved to reunite with his friends, Rue dispatched a stealth replicant to locate the human leader. He then approached the prince of the kingdom, offering him the secret medicine to save the princess, signaling an end to the conflict. With the medicine secured, Rue instructed his soldiers to send a messenger, ensuring peaceful resolutions. Returning to their forest base, Rue and his allies mourned their fallen comrades, holding a funeral for the 30 lost in battle. They solemnly burned the corpses to prevent them from turning into zombies or ghosts, reaffirming their commitment to survival at any cost. After the battle, some of the goblins changed. Hobji, who healed the injured, became a half-Saint Lord. He also gained a strong shield ability that can withstand punches. Hobfu became a ghoul because she ate zombies created by Rue, who now fears her. Meanwhile, Hobma evolved into a Dodomeki with eyes all over her body, giving her remote viewing abilities for gathering information. Rue discovered that the Kobold's alliance leader, now named Akikaze, gained a true name. True names are special and grant certain powers, but sharing them can lead to curses. Akikaze revealed his true name to Rue as a sign of loyalty. Rue faced a dilemma with prisoners. Some wanted to leave, feeling stronger than the others. The leader challenged Rue, so they fought with orb weapons that boost their power. Despite their efforts, Rue easily defeated them but healed their wounds afterward. During the battle, Rue was sneak attacked by the gorilla man who called himself the boss. However, Rue retaliated and defeated him. Later, Rue found the half-damp peer flirting and gave him a stern warning. Some former slaves thanked Rue and joined as new members. The half-damp peer developed feelings for Rue after tasting his blood, but Rue wasn't interested. Despite this, they gained 50 new members. Rue introduces Emery to some dwarves, but they seem rude, so Emery doesn't warm up to them. However, Rue insists she get along because dwarves are renowned as the finest craftsmen in the land. Grudgingly, they gift him a magnificent new warhammer. Later, while Rue takes a solitary walk in the woods, he reflects on the sweeping changes around him. Suddenly, Dorian, a mischievous spirit, appears and playfully invites him to join her for some fun. Despite his attempts to decline, Dorian's charm wins him over. Returning to camp, Rue faces the anger of the girls, who notice the telltale kiss marks on his face. In the days that follow, Rue decides to cultivate a new venture: agriculture. He visits a dryad and secures magical seeds known for their rapid growth and superior nutrition. Meanwhile, tensions rise as some provisional members consider returning home, and former noble prisoners, now unwitting pawns of me, have been turned into spies. Rue learns that the army is gradually withdrawing, signaling an uneasy peace. He is invited by the elf chief to a celebratory banquet, where the elf expresses relief that the conflict is finally ending. Meanwhile, Rue, ever the craftsman, experiments with his skills, fashioning a skeleton centipede from bones. Despite the girls' initial revulsion, Rue convinces them it can serve as a practical vehicle for their travels. He reassures them that his goal remains fulfilling his promise to return them home, giving them the choice to stay or go. Amidst festivities welcoming new members, tensions simmer. Genki worries about the centipede's reception in town, as well as the Empire and Kingdom's prejudices against demi-humans. Genki also explained that Rue and his team would face discrimination, so it would be best to seek a noble sponsor to gain entry into the Empire. The following day, Rue organized teams to gather intelligence about Garrison City, Triant, emphasizing that no one should endanger their lives. As they set off, Rue anticipated quieter times without the bustling presence of his comrades, but eagerly anticipated confronting even greater challenges in the lively garrison city of Triant. They arrive in the city, but everyone panics, fearing they might be harmed. Rue's friends explain their situation, and they find a place to stay. Rue tells the girls they can stay in the city instead of traveling with him, knowing they were kidnapped and wanting them to enjoy life. However, he values their skills and prefers having them in his group. Rebellia shows him the Adventurers Guild, where he's mistaken for a threat and has to knock out attackers. Rebellia informs the guild about Parabellum, and an old man advises them to register as adventurers, which they do. Mii invites Rue to go shopping, but he needs to gather information and disguises himself as a human to move around the city. He overhears people talking about him being dangerous, realizing it's hard to promote his company. Rue is suddenly attacked by a group of bad guys, but he easily beats them and eats their bodies. He notices they all have rings with the same design, so he thinks they're part of a criminal group. Nearby, he hears a boy arguing with some men who took his money, but won't release their hostage. The boy threatens them, but they overpower him. Just as they're about to stab him, Rue knocks them out and infects them with one of his creations. The boy wants to kill them, but Rue explains he has a plan. He gives the boy a business card for Parabellum and reveals his true form that evening. Later, the boy visits Rue, saying he's trying to rescue a kidnapped princess. Rue knows where to find her. We see the thugs in their hideout, but Rue gets rid of them. He leads the boy to the princess and discovers a document revealing the whole thing was planned. Rue warns the boy not to tell anyone, but he refuses, so Genki uses hypnosis to make him obey Rue's command. The next day, Rue finds out about the new generation of goblins. He's happy to hear this, but keeps thinking about the human girls, hoping they won't leave him. So he visits them, and they all say they want to stay with him. He thanks them for being loyal. Later that day, the princess visits Rue, knowing he saved her. She introduces herself as Sternbert and mentions Parabel. She decides to hire them to escort her to the royal capital, but Rue refuses, reminding her she has guards. She thinks they're useless. Rue suggests a fee of a gold plate, worth 1,000,000 gold coins. Realizing it's a great offer, Rue accepts the job. He wonders why Alice has no guards, and she explains she left them. He worries they might mistake him for a kidnapper, but knows he can't break the contract. They ride a skeleton centipede as the princess points out a herd of buffalo. They kill one and eat it. Rue decides to tame a buffalo to make the skeleton centipede less noticeable. They continued their journey, hunting monsters along the way. However, Sternbert kept putting herself in danger, making Rue realize she was trouble. When they spotted a nest of turtle snakes, Rue swiftly removed them. Sternbert apologized for her risky behavior and joined them in preparing food. They enjoyed the meal together, and as they journeyed on, Rue noticed Sternbert's curiosity often led her into ridiculous situations with dangerous monsters. They discovered that the boy with them was a knight in training. Despite his lack of combat experience, he insisted on training with Rue. Sternbert also wanted to learn how to fight, surprising everyone. While the boy struggled in training, Rue saw potential in Sternbert's determination to improve. Discussing their route, they learned the shortest path led through the mountains, home to the fearsome Filet Eagles. Their leader, the Jade Eagle, blessed by a god, was particularly formidable. Everyone advised avoiding it, but Rue was undeterred and decided to hunt it. They encountered several Filet Eagles, which Rue captured for breakfast. Suddenly, the Jade Eagle appeared, and a fierce battle ensued. After an hour, onlookers feared Rue was losing. However, when they checked, they discovered Rue had lost an arm. Miraculously, he ate it, allowing it to regenerate. Revealing he hadn't been fighting seriously, Rue unleashed his full power, defeating the Jade Eagle with a decisive blow. Inspecting the eagle's body, Rue found a rare soul stone near its heart, valuable enough to make them rich. Rue consumed the Jade Eagle, gaining its abilities. Sternbert asked why he always ate what he killed. Rue explained it was to take on their regrets and grudges, though he admitted it sounded strange, as no one in his past understood. Sternbert pondered his words silently. They arrived at the village of Mason amidst a flurry of panic among the villagers at the sight of Rue. Ready to defend themselves, the villagers were surprised when Sternbert displayed her crest, revealing her as their princess. Recognizing her, they quickly allowed the group entry into the village. The mayor warmly welcomed them, offering hospitality and a tour of the village's sights. As night fell, they gathered for a communal drink, fostering a sense of camaraderie. However, the festive mood took a turn when a local man made unwelcome advances towards me, prompting her to swiftly put him in his place. In a playful challenge, Rue proposed a drinking competition with the villagers, promising 4 coveted silver plates to the winner. Despite their best efforts, the villagers soon found themselves in varying stages of intoxication, while Rue, unaffected, revealed his immunity to alcohol's effects. His true intention emerged, to divert attention away from Mi's altercation earlier that evening. The next day, they resumed their journey, but Ru soon discovered a shocking truth. Both twins were pregnant with his children. Overwhelmed, he urgently contacted Gobji for advice, unsure of what to do next. Gobji grimly informed him that ogre children were born immediately, and that the sisters, being human, might not survive the ordeal due to their size. Realizing the urgency, Ru decided they wouldn't make it back to their village in time. Desperate to help, Ru searched for a safe place for them to give birth. He reassured the sisters to hold on, though they bravely insisted they would be fine. However, Spinel noticed their weakening condition and realized they needed nourishment to survive. In a daring move, Ru offered his own arm, suggesting they eat it for energy. Shocked and reluctant, they refused, unwilling to consume him. Determined to save them, Ru took a bite of his own arm and kissed each sister, forcing the nourishment into their bodies. Through tears, he pleaded with them not to give up, expressing his fear of losing them. They arrive at a cave, only to be ambushed by bears. Neki, Fuki, and Genki dispatch the beasts, while Ru, ever resourceful, quickly prepares a makeshift bed for the sisters. Using his healing abilities, he ensures their wounds are tended to. His focus intensifies as he monitors their growing bellies. Amidst their conversation, one of the sisters informs him that the babies are ready to be born. With steady hands, Ru performs urgent surgery, the tension palpable until a sigh of relief washes over the group as the procedure ends successfully. The sisters, though weakened, are stable. In a moment of realization, Ru embraces the role of fatherhood. Gobji contacts Ru, expressing concern over the mixed heritage of the newborns. Ru calmly notes that each child bears a single horn, a distinctive trait. Despite Gobji's suggestion to remove the horns to avoid societal stigma against mixed bloods, Ru adamantly believes in showing the children love and acceptance. Parabellum assures them of the baby's care, overseeing their well-being. Born as lords with orbs attached to them, Ru names the girl Auro and the boy Argento, honoring the hues of their respective orbs. The next day, Ru emerged from the cave alone, driven by his quest to confront a formidable monster. His search led him to a majestic sight, a towering mythical deer known as the White Stag. Instinctively recognizing it as a potential boss-level adversary, Ru hesitated, uncertain of his ability to prevail. Despite his doubts, he steeled himself for the battle ahead. As Ru prepared to engage, the White Stag surprised him by shedding its antlers and swiftly fleeing. Tempted by the prospect of consuming the antlers for their power, Ru ultimately decided to preserve them for his offspring, reflecting on his responsibilities as a parent. Continuing his journey, Ru encountered a band of adventurers locked in combat with a horde of monsters. Among them stood their leader, Baylor, who commanded respect and skill. Despite overcoming their foes, Baylor unleashed a devastating energy blast, revealing their precarious situation. Witnessing their struggle, Ru admired their prowess even as he remained wary. Just as Baylor prepared his ultimate attack, magical arrows from Ru's special ability shredded him apart. Ru approached Baylor's remains, contemplating the valuable loot. Before he could act, the adventurers, viewing him as a potential threat, readied for a confrontation. However, their leader exuded a commanding aura that caught Ru's attention. Intrigued by this powerful presence, Ru struck a deal. In exchange for Baylor's remains, he offered them potions. With the transaction concluded, Ru stored Baylor in his item box and departed, leaving the adventurers to discuss the enigmatic creature they had encountered. Among them, their leader revealed a rare ability, Premonition of Death, that foretold Ru's potential. Back in the cave, Ru reunited with his family, presenting his children with the White Stag's horn to enhance their abilities. Sharing a meal with Rebellia, they discovered newfound powers. Rebellia revealed her new job as a sacred beast eater. Despite these developments, Ru recognized the White Stag's immense strength, realizing his current prowess was insufficient to tame it. As Ru settled in for sleep, the system suddenly notified him that his level had reached its maximum, offering him the chance to evolve into an Apostle Lord. Intrigued, he agreed, and underwent a transformation that granted him extraordinary abilities. However, just as he embraced his new form, an error message flashed, indicating that he still needed to fulfill specific conditions to unlock a set of advanced skills. The next morning, as everyone awoke, they were stunned to witness Ru's startling new appearance, his evolved state leaving them awestruck and curious about the extent of his newfound powers. After continuing their journey, Ru and his companions, Emery and Spanel, discover that both are pregnant. With Rue's guidance, they decide to set up camp for the delivery. Emery gives birth to a robust son, while Spanel's daughter, noticeably smaller, is human. They rest in a place known as Purgatory, where Sternbert disguises herself, fearing recognition as they approach the capital. Meanwhile, Rue leads the others to the Adventurers Guild, where Rubelia finds a training room. A group challenges Rue to a fight, but he redirects them to spar with Neki, Fuki, and Genki, resulting in the adventurers' defeat. Impressed, Rue invites them to join Parabellum. Later, Rue goes shopping with the girls and buys a camera to capture moments with the babies. That evening, he contacts other Parabellum members. Sei reveals they've earned money capturing criminals for spellbooks. Dodome reports gathering valuable information, prompting Rue to suggest she take a break. When considering contacting Kichi, Rue is startled by a vision of his own demise, leading him to change course towards the city of Grifos to check on Kichi. Sternbert agrees to the detour, and as they travel, they observe the babies, noting that Spanel's child develops slower due to human maturity rates. Rue notices Mie wearing a necklace he gave her, reassuring her of his commitment despite her doubts. She confesses her desire to have a child with him, fearing she can't match his capabilities. Rue reassures her, and they arrive in Grifos, where they encounter a dungeon and frightened adventurers mentioning an overpowering Minotaurus inside. Rue explains the Minotaurus is a friend, but the mayor informs them of the adventurers' plan to eliminate it. They return to the dungeon entrance where Kichi appears with E. As Rue observed the growth in E's abilities, E disclosed that they had spared the adventurers' lives. Intrigued, Rue questioned Kichi about his recent vision. Kichi recounted his journey to the dungeon's deepest depths, where he confronted a monstrous boss that mimicked Rue's form. Overwhelmed, Kichi faced death until one of Rue's abilities intervened, preventing his demise. Blessed by the lightning god, Kichi surged with newfound power, cleaving the monster in two, a vision that had haunted Rue. Now revealed as a Minotaur and E as an Earth Lord, Kichi proposed a challenge to Rue, eager to test his strengthened skills. They proceeded to the arena, where Sternbert, puzzled by their rivalry, learned from Mai that it was a long-standing competition between them. Kichi confessed his desire to prove himself as Rue's equal, acknowledging he had never defeated him. Their battle commenced with clashing weapons, but Rue soon realized Kichi's enhanced strength. Pushing forward, Rue parried Kichi's advances until an unexpected explosion disrupted their duel. Kai's fiery prowess intensified, driven by his determination to surpass Rue. Fired up, Rue countered with magical attacks, but Kichi adeptly defended and retaliated with a powerful barrage. Amidst the chaos, Rue invoked a new ability, boosting his speed and launching a relentless assault. Kichi struggled to keep pace, unleashing waves of flames in defense. As their conflict escalated, Kichi's unchecked power threatened the arena, prompting Rue to caution him against endangering their comrades. Undeterred, Kichi pressed on, prompting Rue to unleash his blazing fists with newfound determination. Despite Kichi's efforts to block with his shield, it shattered under Rue's relentless assault. In a final, decisive strike, Rue remembered their humble origins as goblins, realizing how far both had come. After Kichi and Rue finished their fight, Kichi and E went home. Rue's group made it to the royal capital, where Sternbert took them to her palace and invited them to stay. She prepared their reward, and they had a big dinner. However, they had trouble sleeping because they weren't used to such nice rooms. The next day, Sternbert gave Rue his payment and a card that let him freely enter the capital. Rue wondered if she should really give it to him, but Sternbert planned to request his help again, so she wanted him to come back easily. Rue left some of his copies in the city, and the group started to head back. The trip went well, but Mie seemed sad, thinking about how strong Kichi had become. She worried about falling behind, but Rue assures her he'll always be there for her and promises to help with her training. They take a break from their journey, and Rue summons a group of giants to assist her. She gives it her all and defeats over 50 giants, but realizes it's still not enough. Rue praises her effort, but she suddenly faints. He takes her back to the group, and they all have dinner together that night. Meanwhile, Mai meets the conditions to evolve and becomes a vampire lord, bringing joy to Rue. Returning to the forest, they find the cave completely transformed thanks to renovations by the others. They are shown a new farm, where even the dryad spirit is helping plant seeds, along with a ranch for animals. Suddenly, Seiji arrives saying Gobji is dying. Rue visits Gobji, who doesn't have much time left. Rue introduces his children to Gobji, who is happy to see them. Reflecting on his life, Gobji passes away and they hold a funeral for him, revealing he was around 20 years old. Despite not knowing their lifespan, Ru cherishes every moment with his loved ones. To honor Gobji, Ru organizes a tournament to showcase everyone's progress. Kichi thanks Ru for making him stronger and vows to surpass him. They battle fiercely until Ru emerges victorious. As they share a meal, Ru reflects on everyone's growth. At night, Sternbert contacts Ru for his services again, despite his initial reluctance. Unable to refuse her offer, Ru gathers everyone to embark on their next adventure in the capital.